majority of the consultant who work with client, they will be always on the side, they will be always traveling.
Top three skills for that you need in consulting.
You need to always be adaptive to those challenges.
Correct.
You need to be confident in your own skill, so that no matter what challenges are, you will be always confident in dealing with those.
When we talk about consulting, it is people driven.
Right.
So, do they look at certifications of people? If yes, if you can name one or two which people, my audience, can do that.
I mean, I will not say that certification does not play a pivotal role. It does. However, there is a combination of both works, experience as well as certifications.
How do somebody overcome those early career hurdles?
Somebody who, let's say, is working with a bank and now want to get into an ESG space.
Correct.
The transition can always happen.
Now, when you do this transition, how important is networking? And if you can give a few tips that how should you do networking? Hello guys, I hope everybody is doing good. Hi, this is Ganesh Nayak. I help finance professionals and students to excel in their career and become a better version of themselves. And I also help students who are preparing for competitive exam in finance. And as a part of that journey, we talk to a lot of people from the industry trying to understand what are the key skill sets that are required in the industry, how somebody can make a career in finance. And today I'm talking to Apurv Parab. He has already cleared SCR exam. He has a very interesting journey of around 11 years from the marketing to the consulting strategy and now into the core risk area. He's going to be talking about his entire journey, what are the important things that he has learned, plus how we can make a career into the strategy side or the sustainability and the risk side. So Apurv, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me here.
For the benefit of the audience, if you can give us a brief about your overall 11 years of experience in the industry.
So I've done BMS and Masters of Management Studies, both specialized in marketing. Eventually, then I got into my internship, which was with Amul. That was a go-to-market project. From there, my interest towards getting into research or marketing kicked in. Eventually, I got into a startup company, which was a food startup. A very young startup which I joined in and helped to go to all over India in next 3 years. So that was how I got introduced to market research. Then I moved into another big primary research company, that is Kantar. I worked there for 2.5 years, handled major clients which are B2B, B2C. Before COVID, I was working with this company and I was parallelly also looking out for opportunities into risk consulting. That's the area I wanted to explore. And that's how I got introduced to Marsh. I joined Marsh roughly about 5 years ago. Within Marsh, I have been working in risk advisory. This has been a very comprehensive role wherein I have worked in multiple domains, from bespoke consulting to enterprise risk, business continuity, and now into sustainability.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So till Kantar, your experience was primarily into marketing.
Right.
What was the trigger point for you to look for, first of all, consulting space and also into risk?
So Kantar was very interesting in a way that you always get to understand when you are a marketing company, you always try to understand what goes in the mind of consumer so that you understand consumer more, and then basically tweak your offerings accordingly or design your products accordingly, right? So as a consumer centric focused brand, I was already doing that.
Correct.
I knew what is going on, but I was missing out the bigger picture, which is operational points. For example, one of the major client was an automobile company. I knew how are they planning to go into the market, but I did not know what is the background into the planning that needs to happen to go into the market, right? So that was missing. Those were sort of the triggers which sort of kicked me in, and that's how I decided to go into risk space. I was not aware where to go and what to explore. So March happened and I started looking out for opportunities. I got into bespoke consulting area of the business. It is specifically called as emerging risk group.
Okay.
And through that, I got introduced to a lot of facets of risk, which can be of enterprise risk, specific to program related risk, specific events risk, geopolitical risk. From there onwards, I have moved into enterprise risk, business continuity, which are again the larger domains of
Correct.
risk.
Correct.
There are other areas as well, such as cyber, AI, which are ever evolving right now.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you also, before this podcast, you were talking about the strategy role. Now, if you can tell us, for the audience, that when you say consulting into a strategy role, what is it, and if you can give an example around it.
As a consultant, you will be always put in a situation, a client will come in and they will have a problem, right? There is a misconception around consulting role that it is always a glamorous role which will always involve preparing flashy presentations. It's not actually that. It's a lot of short-term firefighting. You will meet clients, understand their problem, which could be day-to-day problem, operational problems, or long-term challenges, right?
Correct.
You understand those as a consultant. You understand their business from the get-go, and then try and relate your practical understanding, your technical understanding with their challenges. And then you sit there in their shoes and try to understand how you can resolve those. You definitely have structured thought process for it. You have the technical understanding to handle those. And let's say if it is a sustainability related challenges, you have the frameworks, you have the technical know-how to handle those situations. If it is an enterprise level challenges, there are multiple facets to it. So as a consultant, you always you try to understand the problem first, and you have always need to be empathetic toward clients, that what challenges they are facing, and understand those challenges, and then try to see how you can be sort of a guiding role towards solving those
So,
challenges.
if you can give us an example, that what is one example of a challenge in terms of strategy that has come to you, and what you generally provide service or support to that.
Right.
Because the audience might not be able to clearly bifurcate. They might know consulting is general consulting, like
Right,
us.
right.
So how is that strategy consulting happening?
Sure. So I'll give you one of the very prime example that was very interesting. I started with that particular client only. It was an esports company. That was during COVID. Okay. So while COVID was happening, there were a lot of countries which continued to allow and operate esports. So esports are eventually, like in Western part of the world, those are in-house events. They book large arenas, and there the events will happen. People will come play. There will be audience, which will cheer like any other sports audience does. So they came to us, and what they wanted us to do is, they wanted us to plan their entire events from a risk perspective. What could possibly go wrong? And that could, from the very nascent stage of, let's say, 6 months before the plan, what could possibly go wrong in a particular site. Let's say if the event is happening in Barcelona, Spain, how do you see that particular city behaving in next 6 months? Is there any geopolitical tensions developing in there? Is there any natural calamity that you are anticipating around that time? So that sort of assessment that you will start doing 6 months prior to the events, right? Other than that, once the event starts, even before the event start, you will start planning for players to, where they will stay, what would be the arrangements for them, what are the regulations moving into those countries they need to follow. What would be the check-ins, because majority of these players are the top-notch players coming from their own countries. So they will not be aware of the regulations flying into one particular country.
So you will come into picture for
Correct. So there is a possibility that they do things which may not be permitted flying into a country. For example, carrying e-cigars into, let's say, Singapore, which basically prohibits you to carry. So that's how we have to detailed out everything and anything that will help them to go into the country without having any disruption. right? So that's how, as a risk consultant, we pitch in. Now, when they come into events, we ensure that everything happens smooth from the backend perspective, the servers, the cyber perspective, from the security perspective. So everything is aligned even before the event happens. But when the event happens, we also take care everything runs smooth. And post event happens, we just run a check that was what has gone good, what has gone wrong, so that we be better prepared for the upcoming events. So
Okay,
that's sort
interesting.
of a like very general role if you see, but on the ground it is very challenging and very strategic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, with regarding the strategic role, can you highlight me one or two misconceptions which people have?
That I went to many campus interviews. One of the
Mhm.
students started saying me, the strategy roles are very fancy. I mean, is it beyond making fancy PPTs and working on Excel? I said, absolutely no. Those are two of the very critical tools that you will use. And those will be like in day in, day out, you will be using, but that does not necessarily summarize everything and anything that you
Correct.
do. It largely involves your critical thinking.
Mm.
You will always be thinking around clients, around the challenges that you see, and there will be daily firefighting. There will be always a new problem evolving. You will work around those problems that could be
Correct.
internal to you or to internal to your client. Work around those problems,
Correct.
and then you will work on the mode of presentations could be PPTs or Excels,
Correct.
but the larger problem remains with the clients. That is one of the misconceptions I have heard. The another misconception is aiming for the longer picture. It is not like that. Strategic consulting or risk consulting is dealing everything on day-to-day basis. There
Okay.
are situations evolving every day, so you need to take care every challenges coming every single day and
Okay.
evolve accordingly. One of the other misconceptions I have also heard about, that risk consulting goes beyond operations. As I said, it
Day-to-day
is,
operation is also involved.
yeah, it
Yes.
is like it is never beyond operations. You synthesize with operation, you integrate with operation, you
Correct.
go hand in hand with operation. It is never beyond operations.
So basically, people have a conception that if you're into strategy, you'll be sitting in an AC room, you'll be
Yes,
doing
yes, yes.
showing PPT, you'll be taking decisions, but
Correct.
it has to be on the ground.
In actuality, majority of the consultant who work with client, they will be always on the site, they will be always traveling,
Okay.
moving across. For example, myself, I for last 15 days I was traveling to a client site, understanding their challenges on the ground. So
Correct.
it never happens in always in the AC rooms, it happens on site. Could be a manufacturing plant, could be a chemical factory, or could be like a smart mobility
Correct.
vehicles moving on the ground.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, when we are talking about this, which skill is the top three skills for that you need in consulting?
Okay. As a consultant myself, I have been into situation where you will be challenged in a very different scenarios, but you need to always be adaptive to those challenges.
Correct.
You need to be confident in your own skill,
Hmm.
so that no matter what challenges are, you will be always confident in dealing with those. Of course there can be shortcomings, but if you are confident, you will deal with those. So being confident will always help
Okay.
you. So that's one. Second is, when you move to mid senior level, there
Correct.
will be a lot of stakeholder engagements that you will do.
Okay.
So soft skills will always kick in. You need to have good communication skill, and the range of communications will always differ. The way you talk to a senior leadership, mid senior level, clients, other stakeholders will require different range of communication, right?
Correct.
So that is something you will need to develop over the years. Of course that will not happen in early days. With certain exposure you will develop that.
Correct.
That
Okay.
second. The third, I could certainly say, there are, as I mentioned in the first point, adaptability. Right, I am in a place, in a space, particularly
Mhm.
risk advisory, which is ever evolving.
Okay.
10 years ago, sustainability or the ESG related problems were not considered as huge as they are now.
Okay.
Right? Even 5 years back, in during the Biden administration, the ESG related challenges were considered very prolific. But now, when you see 5 years later, the Trump administration has cancelled down, the much talked about
Paris Agreement.
yes, Paris Agreement. So the shift in the governmental views will continue to change, but your understanding and your learning shall continue to evolve. As a risk consultant, you continuously have to upskill yourself, and not necessarily from the technical aspect, but from understanding clients, what are the needs that will, once you start understanding client, that will be a very good guidance for you, because they will help you understand for in next 20 year what
Correct.
are the challenges that they are foreseeing, right?
Correct.
Accordingly, you will start developing your skill set in to match with their expectations.
Got it. Got
Yeah.
it. ठीक है. Now, when we talk about consulting, it is people driven.
Right.
So, do they look at certifications of people? If yes, if you can name one or two which people, a audience can do that.
Yeah, I mean, I will not say that certification does not play a pivotal role. It does. However, there is a combination of both works, experience as well as certifications. If you are a beginner, it is always good that you invest reasonable time and efforts on learning things, getting practical hands on the projects, experience, and implementation of work.
Correct.
So that while you learn those things and then you go to certification, it starts making more sense, because you have learned something and then you get the academic understanding to implement on those things.
Correct.
Right? And of course, all of these certifications which I'll talk about, those are very expensive ones for somebody who is like 2-3 years experience into professional journey. So my advice would be, you start off with working somewhere. If you have aspirations to go into sustainability or cyberspace, start checking on opportunities that could be in form of internships, or any general advisory, or or big four companies where you can start in, get into those particular role, and then explore. Now, what could be those certification? For example, into ESG, if you are looking to pure play understand what is ESG, or from a climate standpoint,
Correct.
you can do GARP SCR.
Correct.
If you are looking at the financial stance of it, then CFASG is one of the offering. If you are trying to understand the frameworks, then there is something called IFRS S1 S2. Then the European dominant CDSB also provides certification.
Okay.
Then there are free certifications from UNPRI.
Yes.
There are a lot of other free materials available on YouTube, Udemy.
Okay.
With in same parallels, there are certifications and ISO certification for people who are cyber professional, people who are willing to go into enterprise risk or other facets of the game. So there are so many certifications and so many free material that you can consume early, and then be prepared for certifications, which possibly will cost you anywhere upwards 50,000 per certifications. So my suggestion is to have experience first, then get into the certification.
So before starting the certification, also at least learn something.
Yes.
Which will tell you whether the certification is something which I want to do.
Correct.
Plus, if you're a college student, do some internship.
Right.
Okay. If you're a working professional, then try to move into a role which is closer to, which will take you. Say, for example, I want to move to ESG.
Yes.
I'll try to go as much closer as possible to the ESG side.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
That's right.
Now you have changed your career, right? So from marketing to consulting. So there are people who want to switch their roles to a very completely new area.
Correct.
So how do somebody overcome those early career hurdles? Okay, when you're moving that transition.
Right. I mean, it always be little challenging when you even want to think about career path, changing the career path.
Right.
So, for example, somebody like me who was into earlier, my transition was still slightly relevant, because I was at one end of the spectrum where I was dealing consumer from a research standpoint, and I then gone into the consulting standpoint.
Right.
So somebody who, let's say, is working with a bank and now want to get into an ESG space.
Correct.
The transition can always happen. It's just that the commitment needs to be there. You will always face companies or hiring managers saying that we want the experience which are relevant to the ESG. Now that's the challenge, right? So how do you face it? You face it by preparing on your own. You have a lot of content that is available, lot of data that is available. Go to NSC website, download the BRSR reports of the Indian companies.
Correct.
Try to analyze those. Try to prepare the projects out of it. There are so many websites which also gives you completed projects, that how has been a transition of a non-ESG compliant company to ESG compliant company has happened.
Okay.
Work on those particular projects. Use those as a case studies for your presentations for any particular interview, and try to give that confidence to your employer. Correct. That yes, I am not expert, or I do not have the experience that that is needed for you to deliver, but I have the skill set, I have the certifications. Correct. And I'm positive that I've also done my homework. I have these case studies with me which I've done, and that will definitely give you some good motivation going into the interviews. But it is never a place where you cannot start. Somebody like me who has been into non-risk consulting or non-ESG space for 10 years, if I can make this happen, you can. Correct. Also.
Now, when you do this transition, how important is networking? And if you can give a few tips that how should you do networking?
Absolutely. Networking is one of the important thing that you can always do. The reason why there will be so many people who have done this transition already.
Correct.
They are the ones who will help you how to navigate through these challenges. Then there will be other people who are into this particular space and they're ready to give you that hand which you need to get into this particular role. Okay. For example, somebody like me, I am into this space right now, and I am okay with hiring people who have a very beginner level understanding of ESG, but are committed to developing their skill set for next 4 to 5 years and get a deeper understanding about ESGs.
Correct.
So I am fine with hiring somebody who is confident about their skill set and passionate about ESG.
Correct.
So there will be so many people out there who are ready to invest in you, provided you show that willingness and interest and passion, right? So networking is absolutely very important. And another part which I also want to highlight is, for example, if you are a part of a advisory company or a, let's say for example, my setup, where it's a huge company, you have internal sustainability teams. Okay. Working in your under the same roof, but you are not aware about what they are doing, right? Okay. Hence, what you want to do is network with those people, not necessarily on LinkedIn, but within the company, and try and understand what they are doing, what are the areas for you to improve. Okay. And basically connect with those, learn, and then approach them for a right opportunity.
Because moving within the organization is going to be much easier.
Yes.
So if there is a vertical which is for sustainability or ESG,
right,
you should focus first on entering there.
Exactly.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. Now, very quickly, what is the future trend that you see in consulting space?
There are many challenges that I've seen of late, and organizations are vigilant to handle those challenges. Okay. But majority of the challenges lies around the changing geopolitical tensions, right? Okay. So a consultant will always need to be aware about what are the upcoming threats that a business might face. If you are into a sector specific business, let's say if you are into petroleum and oil and gas. Correct. Right? So that is the particular sector which is highly threatened by wars, and other geopolitical tensions, right? So you need to be always prudent with clients that these are the top 10 or top 5 challenges that you will be foreseeing in next 5 years. Okay. And accordingly, you will be working closely with clients. For example, we are working with a lot of our Middle East clients in navigating their 5 years plan. which is basically transitioning from high risk areas. Let's say there are 10 material risks that they are facing right now. We want to shift out of those 10, 5 material risks to lower risk.
Okay.
Right? So that kind of transition will happen and needs to happen. And as a consultant, you will be focusing on these sort of areas.
Okay. Now, one question which is like mentoring or self learning. What do you think best works?
In my case, it has worked in both ways. Mentoring has been major part of my journey in my earlier stint, which is marketing and research. Post that, it has been self-learning most of the time, because my mentor, who is somebody who is a marketing professional, who has helped me throughout my marketing journey.
Correct.
But self-learning kicked in where I need to get into sustainability space.
Okay.
Have to do my research, understand what it takes to get into ESG, what are the relevant certifications. So self-learning has done a lot of things for me. That's the area where I got to know that SCRS certification
Correct.
will help me to enhance my climate related understanding from the risk perspective. And that's how I took up SCR.
And when you go for an interview, okay, what does a recruiter looks for in when you go for a ESG related role or a sustainability related role in you as a candidate?
Nowadays, it is very much essential that you have a good problem solving or problem understanding of the problem is there. You have structured thinking in place. I mean, you are put in a situation, you will be given a case, and that could be irrespective of any industry, but your understanding of the problem matters, and then how structured you are thinking
Okay.
to handle that problem also matters. Now, another skill set that every interviewer nowadays will seek is the basic analytical understanding of you. How do you crunch the data? Because anything and everything you will work will be related with data, right? So your soft skills, your understanding of data analysis, not at a very high level, but basic analytical understanding will be very much appreciated and very much acknowledged.
Okay. And how do you crack any ESG related or sustainability related interview easily?
So there are ways, definitely. One is to look at the people who have already done it, right? That's the reason why I said networking is very important. You meet with people, you understand, try to get time with people who have
Correct.
already done it, so that they will, always give you the guidance which is needed. The other is constantly looking out for what is being asked for. Go through the job descriptions for the roles that you are targeting, right?
Correct.
And so that you will understand what is the market demand, what are the expectations, and accordingly you can align your learning with those expectations.
Correct. Okay. Interesting. Anything emerging which is happening, new thing that you've seen in the sustainability space where the demand is coming up or new technology is coming up? Anything specific?
Yeah. So decarbonization is one of the area where
Correct.
the investments are heavily being poured in globally. Even in India, there are a couple of startups that has came up which are focused upon decarbonization initiatives, and there are so many investors who have also shown interest.
Okay.
Apart from decarbonization, there are so much initiatives going into treating waste, utilizing water in a efficient way.
Correct.
And building technologies around it. So utilization of water, utilization of waste, recycling, and of course the electricity, solar, yeah, regeneration of electricity. So these are the areas where the even the those are the upticking areas, and that will continue to grow.
Okay. We've almost completed the discussion. Now we have one section where we ask you question fast and you have to also answer fast.
Sure.
Okay. One skill every ESG professional must have.
That would be stakeholder management.
Okay. One common interview question for ESG roles.
For example, you are dealing with multiple industries. The problems could be multiple across the industries. What is the common thread as a ESG consultant that
Okay.
you have that makes you fit for this role.
Okay.
Industry could be multiple. What is the skill set that you have
Okay.
that will be good fit for any industry?
Interesting. What is the best way for somebody who is a fresher to build a ESG profile?
Understanding or consuming the free material out there and preparing some case studies, analyzing reports which are available on NSC websites, preparing some level of analysis basis that, and presenting that into your resume, showcasing that you have done the case studies.
Okay, interesting. One mistake candidates do in their interview for ESG or SCR.
People overdo a lot of things.
Okay.
Try to be more specific and uh, try to understand the role, try to understand what is being expected, and move your efforts towards that particular direction.
What is one advice for students entering sustainability roles?
It is a very good space to be in, so be very positive about the space and keep on upskilling. Look out for technical skills
Correct.
which are in high demand, and first of all try to get the hands-on experience and then move towards certifications.
Any free resource that you can share with students around sustainability, ESG?
Yes, there are something called TCFD Knowledge Hub. If you want to understand the frameworks,
Okay.
then there are certifications from UNPRI that is also there. Then there are Sustainability Development Goals (SDG).
Yes.
Then there is something from edX, EDX.
EDX.
They also provide a lot of free certifications.
Correct.
And beyond that, if you purely want to consume the content, then YouTube is your go-to tool. You have a lot of
Right.
things on YouTube.
Okay, interesting. Wonderful, Apurva. I mean, think so. This conversation will really help people, first of all, to think about consultancy,
Right.
and that to risk and sustainability consultancy.
Right.
So, thank you again for taking out time and talking.
Thank you so much. Nice talking to you.